This is Jason Anderson. We are calling a special town council meeting of Tuesday, March 1st, 2022 to order. For roll call purposes, all council members are in attendance. Next up is interviews of boards and commission applicants. 3A, Donna Bromwell is seeking reappointment to the Conservation Commission as a regular member. The term would run from March 2022 through February 2027. Ms. Bromwell has been a member of the Conservation Commission as a regular member since December of 1999. Her attendance has been steady over the course of her appointment. The Conservation Commission is a commission of 5 regular members and 2 alternate members. Currently, there are 4 active regular members, including Ms. Bromwell, and 1 active alternate member. There is 1 regular member and 1 alternate member seat vacant. Ms. Bromwell, if you could come forward, please. Yes. Just make sure the microphone's turned on. Green light, you're good to go.
Good evening. Donna Brownwell, been around for a while. I've seen a lot of you here and there, here and everywhere else. Yep, been on since '99, like over 20 years. Done it all. I don't know, should I just tell you about myself, or you want to ask
a little bit about
questions,
yourself
or what?
and how your time on a commission's been and why you're seeking a stay on.
Oh, yeah, well, I've done lots of things. We had a bus tour not too long ago. We had one on the mills. I've designed 3 different bus tours. I call them back roads, undiscovered Killingly. Back roads tours, and over since, I don't know, 2015, came up just because I'm a curious sort, and I go like, oh, what's around this corner? I wonder why this is that, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, well, let's make a tour. So that's how these have happened over the last few years. The most recent one, we've done repeats. The most recent one was a few weeks ago, on the 12th of February. What we're calling Mills and Beyond, because of course our town is built on the mills on the Whetstone Brook, and that's the reason we exist. There is a book, Mills along the Whetstone Brook, that is available, that we use as a guide for our tour. We take them up the valley. We use the buses, 2 small buses from the school, and I think don't they charge us for the drivers? They're supposed to. I don't know if they end up doing it.
Yes, we do receive
good.
billing from the Board of Education.
Yeah, for the drivers. And so we have our talking points, and we point out here and there and everywhere. And of course, there were lots of mills. There were as many as 15 on the Whetstone Brook, which is parallel to Valley Road. And these books are available at the Historical Society for $10. You can see what they used to look like. We use this as a guide, and we use we get books from the Historical Society. They trust me with them, so I take them, and then some people buy them, so I've got some money to give back to them. And we had such a good response for February that we're doing an overflow crowd this Saturday for the extras, another 20 people. So we're going to do the same bus tour. Bill was on it, right?
I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. Yeah, people.
30-some years in Killingly, first time I know that I visited the mill, so really beautiful, nice.
Good. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people say. You just go your usual way and you don't really pay attention. So that's my number 3. I've got extra copies of the brochure, and I did a brochure with a little bit of a description, and then a map on the inside, and also the locations. You can go to here, to there, to everywhere. This is the location of whatever. So you could do it on your own if you want to. You don't need us. You get more information. It's probably more fun going with us. But anyway, I brought these. There are 3. We are going to do another one in April, the one up on number 2, which is the Northeast Tour, up around Old Killingly Pond and up around that part of the undiscovered Killingly North Road, Yosemite Valley Road. Who knows who's been on Yosemite Valley Road? Oh, some feel good. All right. Yeah, that's a cool place. You go like, whoa, yeah. But to get people physically out there, we can know about things and all that, but when you actually see it, it's different. And now, see, I like to do the mill one when before the leaves come back on the trees, because of course there's a lot of ruins back in the woods, but once it's all leafed out, you can't see it. So, and with a little bit of snow on, you could even see some of the foundations even more so. So that's that little bit that I've developed over the years. We do an environmental award, and we're on for next week for both. Okay, yep, so we'll see you at the regular meeting next week. We're planning on a booth at the May Festival. What are they calling it this year? Spring Fest. And we've done booths each year. As you can tell, I like people. I talk to everybody, and that's great fun. And I'd like to focus on recycling and that kind of thing. I think it'd be cool to have like a gigantic mound of plastic bottles. I always have lots of ideas. But anyway, we're going to have a booth there and try to focus on some of that. We do have 2 openings right now on our Conservation Commission. Our website's been updated. Allison Newgale down in the town planning office did a lot of work. We gave her a lot of feedback, but she was in there and actually made it happen. I have lots of ideas, but she actually made it happen. So you might want to check our website, killinglyconservation.org. In there, of course, are our various spots that we have open for hiking and trails and things that we've developed over the years. Town-owned properties that have conservation easements on them that, we've made trails and we hold public walks every once in a while. But you can go on the website and see where all those places are, and we encourage people to get outside, get out in the fresh air. Also, those properties need stewards, what we call stewards. We in conservation, we have a limited number of folks, and we have ultimate oversight for these various properties. So we need people to go out and check them out every once in a while. So it's nice to have somebody who lives close by to, take a walk around and see if there's garbage or suggestions for trails or whatever. In fact, one of the men that lives up on Griffiths Road went up to the Quanduck property. We have 125 acres next to the landfill, the transfer station. And he and his neighbors, during COVID time, this is a good thing, they went walking around, and they came to one of our meetings about a year ago, and they said, do you mind if we make some new trails? And we went like, no, yes, absolutely, because we can't do it all. So they've been gung-ho there. We've also got one of our members, Jean Mountford, who is doing the Litchfield Avenue property. We have for like 5 or 6 acres, something like that, along the Quinnebog River, Litchfield Avenue that goes down to Rogers. The property goes down to the river. So she grew up there in that area, doesn't live right there now, but she said, I'd like to make the trails there. I'm like, okay, cool. We had done some trails, but she's taken that on as her project. And I walked with her, I don't know, a couple months ago, and, so they're in process, and we're going to be doing a better marking and a kiosk and a map and, all the things that we do for our various open spaces. So we're, of course, run on volunteers. Those are some of the things. One of the things I wanted to mention, I understand you all are having a goal-setting session this weekend.
Yes.
And it's a public meeting, but I won't be able to come, but I, of course, have some suggestions. Communication to our citizens is a big deal. We need to look at the big picture of where we're going and who are we and what we're doing. Seems like we're sort of, putting out fires or doing more of the immediate things rather than having a longer-term vision. So I would really encourage us to hire like a marketing person, consultant or something, to really take a look at the town, and because we got really cool things here, and to really make a plan for promoting our town. Have a branding. What do we have? A tagline? Do we have a logo? Our logo is old. It's got mills on it. Well, guess what? We don't have any mills anymore. Some kind of a tagline or a symbol that identifies Killingly that we could use on all our materials for all our various groups and Ag Commission and everybody. So this long-term and a marketing consultant. I think you could put in the budget, hire a marketing consultant or something to really look at the whole works. A while back, we had a grant called the Borderlands Grant from the Orton Family Foundation. That's 5, 6, 7 years ago now. But they hired consultants to come and interview people in town, not just look at just the maps and the paperwork and all that stuff. They actually, one of the cool things they did, like they just went around to someplace like Zips. They just sat down and sat next to Ed and said, well, what do you love about the town? You know, but really talk to real folks as to why they're here, why they love it, why, what's important to them. So that was great. That was a great grant. It was Borderlands because it was a funding for us and Exeter, Rhode Island, because they're a rural town too, and it was called Borderlands, meaning border of Rhode Island and all that. But some of those kind of things we could probably, you know, a consultant or something like that could be done through grants, I imagine. You know, I'm sure there's stuff out there. I don't know what they are, but I think it's time that we really took a good look at ourselves and who are we and what do we want to promote and why the heck do people want to come here anyway? Because people do. People do come here. You came here, right? So anyway, those are my ideas. Anybody got any thoughts or questions or whatevers?
Any questions, comments from council? Mr. Grandelsky.
She really gets everybody active. I mean, on all the boards and commissions, there's never, well, yes, I did get one negative point. The first time I was on the council, I went on the October walk. Why isn't the walk handicapped accessible? When you're walking through the woods.
Yeah, no, that was weird.
Other than that, everything has been, you know, the bus tours.
And you all should, and you guys should come on a bus tour because you represent the town, you're making decisions for the town, and, I mean, well, you know, it's good to get out there and see what's what. So,
And you should have to have the highway guys go out to, what, 1892?
1892, yeah, we have conservation land.
There was a tree in the old foundation, so they had to trace through the woods and whatnot. They didn't mind it too much. I got some comments about it, but it wasn't a bad deal, so the foundation wouldn't, you know, deteriorate anymore. So, yeah, they're very active in bringing in everybody in the town, you know. So.
And that's the point, because if we're looking for people to approve budgets, or we got an increase in taxes, or, you know, whatever's, we have to get citizenry involved and promote and be involved, absolutely. Yeah, that 1892 property is pretty cool. We have, is it 70 acres, and then there's 90 acres that the land trust owns, and they're contiguous. It's right up on Breakneck Hill Road, well, over the hill from where you are, yep. And you can miss it easily. You have to go up to the top of the hill, and there's a right-of-way going back way down into the woods and all around. But there's an old foundation there, a stone foundation with the center stone, how they made the center stone chimneys, and a well, stone circled well that you find. It's like this discovery in the woods. I mean, it's fun. It's fun, yeah. So that's 1892 and Sherman Trust, Memorial Trust or something like that, because and we work with the Land Trust, of course, you know, we're working on it together. They just cleared a bunch of trees and things that were down there, and then the DPW guys, whatever you call them, they got that, because the tree had fallen down over top of the foundation. So there's lots.
Members are out there a lot with the chainsaws and the brush cutters making the trees.
Some of it,
They're
yeah.
putting in a lot of time to make this amenable.
Marking, yeah,
Markers and whatnot.
yeah. It's good.
I just got a couple questions.
Yes.
Are there any seats left available on the bus tour for Saturday?
I take it.
Come on. No, Bill, you already came. He's going, oh, this is good. Okay, there may be, I think we got like 20 people, and I think we have room for 22. Come along, we meet for that tour at Colts, corner of Dog Hill and Route 12, and Colts parking lot across the street from Colts. They've been, you know, allowed us to use the parking lot for our folks, and we've got the insurance card and all that stuff. So meet there at, 10 of 1 or so, and there should be room. Many times we have people signed up and then they don't all end up coming, so there should be room. Want to come?
I do. What time is it?
All right, 1 o'clock,
1 o'clock.
or a little before. Come a little before. And you can meet people, and it's a good networking too. I mean,
Donna,
Yeah.
are kids welcome on the bus tours too? Do you want, or is
yes,
it just
well, I had a
adults?
question that somebody had a toddler, and I thought, ew, gee, it's really a good hour and a half or 2 hours, and you're on a little bus. We might get off once or twice. That particular trip, we don't really get off. I'd like to take people up to Hygeia because it's on the route.
Yeah.
People have heard of Hygeia, but they've never been up there. So I get the key from the rec department, and we go up there, and they go like, oh, okay, this is it. And Cat Hollow, too. I mean, Cat Hollow was so cool. We didn't go down to Cat, have people been to Cat Hollow, down by the dam and the bridge, finally, thank you, God. But I'm hoping that this time it won't be too muddy. I don't want to get buses stuck down there. So, yeah, that'd be good publicity, though, wouldn't it? Yeah. But anyhow, we did not go down to the Cat Hollow. Imagine. Like, oh, geez. But to physically get there and go like, wow, this is really cool. And we made trails on the other side. And I got involved in that one, like, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years ago. There was a proposal for Briarwood development up off of Cook Hill Road for this over 55 housing. Okay, but they owned all the property all the way down to the edge of the pond. So we, in conservation, we like to see the development plans, and we went like, we don't want to see condos coming down to the pond, we want to keep it green. So we made a recommendation to planning and zoning that, that should remain green, so now when you walk down the road, it's remain green, housing's up on the hill, cool. So that was the beginning of how I got involved. But then we ended up making a plan, working on a plan to develop the park with, one of our people was a associate professor at UConn, and she said, landscape architecture students need a project. So she got the woman that's in charge, bring the whole class out, and they ran all over Cat Hollow, and everybody made plans, and we ended up with this big development plan. The one that I like was that one kid wanted to put 24 zip lines. I thought, that'd be cool. We don't have any zip lines. but it was neat, to get people involved and then get the community sitting down at tables saying, oh, we could do this, that, or the other thing. And it gave them some experience, and it gave us, we have a plan. And I worked, volunteered, of course, down there many, many hours clearing brush because it was all overgrown. And then please God, the bridge. Worked on. Oh, geez, like 8 years.
They did the bridges up on the 5 Mile River. They had a walkway so that the contractor would walk over the bridge. We got it. They gave it to the town. Now that bridge goes across the West Elm Brook.
Right.
Access to the other side. That was another challenge to get that in, but
Yep.
so there's a lot of things going on here over the years.
Yeah, so anyway, I could go on, obviously. Any other thoughts, questions, suggestions? We have 2 openings right now. Oh,
I just want
Michelle.
to say thank you for your service, and I feel very grateful that you're a steward of our land here. Thank you, Joan.
yeah, it's my mission. Well, one of my missions. Cool, okay.
Well,
People, these usually are having 3 different colors, but we couldn't do that this time, so. There's 1, 2, and 3. They all look similar, but there's 1, 2, and 3. So there's copies for everybody, and you can go out on your own. Go exploring. You need to do that.
thank you for your service, and we will
Okay.
be voting on your reappointment
Okay.
next Tuesday.
Oh, you're gonna reject me, are you?
Moving on in the agenda, the next item up is 3B. John Sarantopoulos is seeking reappointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. As a regular member, the term would run from January 2022 through December 2024. Mr. Sarantopoulos has been a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission as a regular member since March of 2021. Previously, he was an alternate member since 2020. His attendance has been steady over the course of his appointment. The Planning and Zoning Commission is a commission of 5 regular members and 3 alternate members. Currently, there are 5 active regular members, including Mr. Sarantopoulos, and 1 active alternate member. There are 2 alternate member seat vacancies.
Good evening.
Good evening. So can you tell us a little bit about your time on planning and zoning, and why you're seeking reappointment?
Well, I'm willing to serve for 3 more years. It's been, you know, it's interesting to be on there. I enjoy it. Gets me out of the house. And Colony's looking good. You know, if anybody has any questions for me, I don't know what else to say, you know.
Well, we appreciate you serving, serving the community, serving on planning and zoning. A couple meetings I've sat in on and listened to remotely. I know you're always active, always have good questions, and appreciate the time that you've dedicated to the town. Any other council members? Ms. Barkley?
I'm the new liaison to the planning and
Yes.
zoning, and I've attended a few meetings, and those are dedicated volunteers. It's very time-consuming. You have to be knowledgeable of the laws, and they are working with the plan of conservation of the town, which is very important to me. And I think they all do a good job. They don't let anything go by unnoticed when they're very, very keen on what's being said by a lot of the attorneys and people trying to get zoning changes. So I'm very happy that you serve, and it's a lot of time. The meetings
You bring
are-
out a good point. It's just not the people in planning and zoning. There's legal representation. There's the commissioner of planning and zoning. There's inland wetlands, town engineer, and you've got a comprehensive building code. And, you know, that's by state statute. And that's what, along with the plan of conservation and development, that's the hope that any community has in developing going forward.
Hi, John.
Hi.
I just wanted to say also thank you for your service, and I got to work with you as the past liaison, and I actually learned a lot from you. You bring up some really good points. You get really in-depth on, you know, each thing. You guys take it very seriously, and there's a lot of knowledge and experience on that board, so thank you again.
Thank you.
There is a lot of experience on that commission, and there's a lot in front of it right now with projects coming up with Frito-Lay, and
Well, Frito-Lay's been,
kind of gone through to where it's down now, or through the biggest part of it, but that, you've had a lot to work through with that, and some other projects that are coming up that you're still in the works with, so there's, all that experience on there is needed with what's in front of you.
you know that Frito-Lay's been voted on.
Yes.
That's
Right, that's something.
approval.
Right,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of, went into that to get to that point.
I believe since August of
Yes.
last year.
I'm dumbfounded that you don't have a lot to say tonight, because I enjoy your, and I like where you go with a lot of your talks, because you care about the money that's being spent in the town, you know, kicking the can down the road, and we really need to pay attention. We need to be responsible for all our projects that are going on in town, and make sure we're not gonna make them mistakes. You know, and I enjoy listening to you. Thank you.
Well, I've been around a while. I've been involved in different things, you know, in my work, as well as I've served on the council, and I was on the building committee for a while. I was with that new high school project, beginning to end. Few bumps along the road there. But, you know, Killenly is in a wonderful position. And the decisions you make now are going to really have an effect on what takes place going forward. And I think, as everybody is aware of, there's still a project out there that's level, and in all probability it's going to happen. There was a newsletter today that I read where, you know, Killenly's going to have some money to play with. And we can be dollar, you know, penny wise, dollar foolish. And you put off things only so long, and before you know it, it comes back to cost you even more. And cost is only one of the downsides of bad decisions that are made. So, I mean, your jobs are extremely important. I mean, you're determining, along with the town manager, which direction we're going in. And hopefully, we make the good choices, and, you know, Killenly's got a lot of potential. No question.
I agree. Any further comments? Seeing none? Thank you again for your
Thanks.
time,
Appreciate
sir,
it.
and we'll
Yeah,
be voting
thank
next Tuesday. Next up on the agenda is item 3C. Matthew Wendorf is seeking reappointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The term would run from January 1st, 2022 through December 2024. Mr. Wendorf has been a member of Planning and Zoning Commission as a regular member since February 2021. Previously was an alternate member since April of 2017. His attendance has been steady over the course of his appointment. The Planning and Zoning Commission is a commission of 5 regular members and 3 alternate members. Currently, there are 5 active regular members, including Mr. Wendorf, and 1 active alternate member. There are 2 alternate member seat vacancies.
I don't think he's here. He's absent.
Okay. All right. So, moving on in the agenda, we'll now move on to item 4, citizen statements and petitions. Are there any public comments that were submitted by email?
No, there were no public comments submitted by email for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. I will open up for public comment. If anyone would like to come speak, with it being a special town council meeting, all comments have to be pertinent to the items on tonight's agenda, which are the 2 reappointment interviews we just had, as well as the new business being the joint meeting with Economic Development Commission and the council. Last call for public comment. Seeing none, we'll move on in the agenda. Item 5, there is no old business. We will move on to item 6A, new business. Economic Development Commission joint meeting, and the liaison is Jill St. Clair. If you want to come forward, I don't know if we can swing that chair around or bring another chair up. And steal a microphone?
Come on. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, because there is one. Oh, okay, all right. If we can work with those, we'll go with that.
We had a commission meeting earlier tonight, so I asked these folks to stay back and see if they wanted to speak on behalf of economic development, and then I have a couple points I would like to present to the council.
I thought, like, in between we have a dinner. We missed that. Come on, you can tell. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for having us here tonight. I'm Todd Cook. I know a few folks here on the board here. So I've been on the commission, I don't know, probably eight years now. And Jill, obviously, we were with Elsie before, and Elsie did a wonderful job. She was fantastic. And Jill came along, and she's really done some wonderful things down here for our town that I can't tell you how excited I am of what she's been presenting to us. So we want to make sure that we can share some of that with, the town council and make sure that they're going to be on board with some of the things that we're doing, because I think it's going to be a real benefit to what what we've been trying to do. I got on the board a long time ago because I just felt like this town has not really been developing in the way that I thought it should. It just kind of stayed stagnant for years. I grew up here, and I left for quite a few years and came back, and the town never changed. And I guess that's good in some ways, but in some ways it's like we got to grow a little bit and keep up. And we've got a great location, and I just felt compelled to be involved to try to help see what we can do to keep the character of the town, but also bring some real development to this for all of us, so we can succeed a little bit more. So it's been really good. It's been great working with Jill on this.
Now they get dinner.
Yeah.
Where's the dinner? Okay, you want me to talk? Okay. Okay, I'm Bill Chen as a vice chair for EDC. Also, moved from Boston, come to Killiney since 1984. That's old enough, yeah. 1984, yeah. So, as I say earlier, so I didn't know that, so town of Killiney have so many old mill. So that is undiscovered. I am with Donna, sit on the open space committee too. I represent the EDC. So always learn from Donna, so what is going on, so about, the town of Killiney. Before that, say, why we moved down to Killiney, nowhere, somewhere, say, from Boston. Before that, say, from Hong Kong. I thought that Boston is quiet. And then come to Killiney and say, holy cow. Our original plan is, say, maybe 3-5 years, go back to Boston. But after 30-some years, still here, We enjoyed it, so a ton of Killiney and Putnam. I owned it, so at the time, it started a Chinese restaurant called J Garden. So with family member, so Putnam and Painfield. So I really enjoyed it, so with the quiet corner, so-called quiet corner, and that's what I learned from there. So I reach out and involved with the more community service. So from Danielson Lion Club to my charter in the AAA Lions Club in Norwich area, and also with the Chamber and Health Department, I represent the town of Killiney, represented town of Killiney as sit on the Northeast Health Department for 10 years, was the chairman for 2 years, and then say Chamber for 9 years. So I did put my time in. Come to the EDC, so as the Todd said earlier, Todd and I, we have a similar background. They say I'm a real estate broker, so real estate agent. We finished up our broker license at the same time, and then pass the test, so pretty much in a good old day. So we thought and see that's how we can get into know more about our area, Eastern Connecticut. So my another hat is I become this year as the Eastern Connecticut Realtor Association commercial committee chair. So promote that, so where we are. In the past time, we always say what we go to sell about Killiney. Now I know that the old mill, turbine, that is something we're missing, so a lot of things communication, publicity. Todd also brought up that everything is how we go to promote the town of Killiney. A lot of negative, school system, tax is not high. I have the office building in Norwich, almost a 50 mil away. Windham County, we host a commercial realtor meeting is 50 mil away. So what you pay, what you got, that's I believe that. And then how is a government, town government can do is a open mind, open policy, and welcome business come to the town. And then make a balance. So the balance is a key word. How is a tax dollar go? We all watch our wallet. We don't make extra money. To go out. So how we watch. Our money to spend. But the business, we welcome business to come and promote the business. So how we do that? So as Todd said earlier, the Jill, I sometimes I confuse the Jill or John, so, but I met John as in Norwich, so at the time she worked, for, the city of Norwich, my office there. So I really, I'm happy to see, that John come to work for town of Killiney. And then, one of, the out of, which out and outstanding, publicity in public eye. So everybody in Norwich, the in business community love her, so what's she doing? I say, yeah, good, people person. That's the part I say, I not always say who is it good or not good, because it's not my job. That's a, Mary's job, that's not my job. But I would like to say that because I witness, year after year before she, they come to join, Killing Me. I glad, to see her here, and she seems like she's happy, and then, and I really like her to, come join, that we have a commercial realtor meeting, monthly, from Eastern Connecticut and Windham County, promote all the, the business to all the commercial realtor. Even some is a commercial business, say lender, where some, say money come from, where's the interest rate today, and some is a civil engineer and say that what is a project going on. So we share the information. So I wish somehow, council member, say beside the 10 years, say that can attend our meeting and input. So we want to, see the, the town of Killiney, become a livable and a better community, and then, say why we live here. So beside the job, why we live here. So Putnam have a fire and ice that they attract, the 20,000. I was there. I say that I can't find the parking. So I look at it, say I think about it, so don't talk about it, say a culture district, and also it's a pacemaking, so that's a promoted downtown. We talk about it, say EDC talk about it, for years. I don't know how many years I sit on the EDC. I forgot, so but say we talk about the downtown, we talk about the promote the the community, say how did we retain the the business. Dale was a chairman at the time. You say we have a joint meeting with the council member and say industrial, say business, and then we in QECC, so at the time we talk about it, brainstorm about it, how we can help your guy stay here, and also we say what you need. But somehow we say we don't have that kind of say we don't do that often enough, to visit, the business. Yeah. But the best of the part is say that we no charge to the town, so we don't have a salary, we don't have a payroll. Thank you all. Right? Payroll. Commission don't have payroll. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Jill?
Wow, I really owe them dinner now. I hope I can live up to that precursor. So economic development, May 20th, I started. 3 days later, we're opening up restaurants, nothing like a new induction to a community with a pandemic. So it's one of those things where you just clear the desk and deal with what's in front of you. And so it was, reopening the restaurants, what do they need? We made 117 site visits that first 6 months to our stakeholders to see what they needed. How were they doing with workforce? And so my day-to-day activity is always encompassing retention and expansion for our stakeholders, and they are so resilient. They have been nimble, they have pivoted, and despite what's going on, we had two major expansions. We had Putnam Plastic, they had an expansion project. Instead of hitting pause, they hit go. I think that building we were doing a ribbon cutting in August, and we had the Commissioner of Economic Development here in May. I mean, it was massive, and, they accelerated. Rollback, they had another building that went up. Instead of being conservative and skittish, they hit go. They put 30,000 square feet up. They were able to utilize the enterprise zone funding for manufacturing, but it's more than just the building. They're able to stockpile inventory. So you talk about changing marketplaces. Right now, it's about collecting your inventory. So light warehousing is such a need, contractor bays. So I put a lot of time into figuring out where can my stakeholders now grow. Attraction is, kind of the trifecta in what we do. That's the hardest thing to do. But right now, it's like, how do I retain the businesses and give them room to grow within the community? And they don't have to be mutually, at opposite polars of conservation and development. Growth, done sustainably is a good thing for the community. So that's a lot of what I've been doing over the last 18 months. The other thing is I'm really focused on being able to activate an asset that the town owns in the industrial park. That is costing us money because we could be expanding on that parcel. So activating that space because of the brownfield issues would be a high priority for me. I have exhausted all state funding for that opportunity. I know you guys are going to see an ARPA fund proposal. I'm not pitching it here tonight, but that's my missing piece in my industrial park. And then there was something I wanted to show you. Is it okay to pass? Okay. So this is based on the census report. It's 2021. I'm going to keep a copy. And there's lots of great data on that. And I think you have, do you have it? This is a town profile. We'll do the first page. Right there. Thank you. Excellent. So the first thing, when I look at this, it's, I look at it key performance indicators, and the last time it was done was 3 years ago. It was data for 2019, 2019. And one of the things that is a stark contrast is that we lost 700 people in population growth. Now, where did they go? People are having less children, and they're aging out. They didn't move. There wasn't a mass exodus because there's nothing for sale in the town of Killingly. But that's a national trend. And if you look up there in the corner, the average age of our population, it's a little above the state average. I think it's 42.5. This is a trend they're calling the graying of America. So we have a shrinking workforce. And I think for the first time in Killingly that we are below the state unemployment rate. So we're in good standing there. So there are plenty of jobs to be had. We just don't have people. So it's finding that balance of how do we attract people, where do they live would be another question, and how do we prevent our stakeholders from fighting over the same human capital, your greatest asset in your community. So those are things that are on our mind and on our horizon. But if you look under that economy, you're going to look at the top 5 industries. You have manufacturing and transportation and warehousing are the top performing for livable wage. And they go hand in hand. You can't have manufacturing without warehousing and transportation. So when Donna was talking about, the rebrand of Killingly, or I have a tagline, when people tell me nothing's made in America, I'm like, you're right, it's made in Killingly. And, manufacturing, sometimes there's that stigma of, low paying wages. Well, there are top performing wages in industry. So the language I like to use when we're promoting to real estate agents and site selectors is we're in the innovation corridor. Things are made here. And those are the industries that we support. Those are the job clusters. And then if you turn on the back page, you'll see where our grand list is. 27% of it comes from our commercial and industrial. That's up from 18%. So our stakeholders are very valuable in the health and the fiscal health of our community, and we need to continue to find ways to grow that sector and give them room to grow within our community. Otherwise, they're going to be going outside our community, and I'd like for them to be retained here. There's a lot of big capital projects around us, and it's that fine balance. We don't want to be the service community for another community's economic growth. So we have to figure out that balance. Those are the things I think about at night. Then there's the fun projects, activating another non-performing asset, and that's the Brickyard project that you may have heard of. The town authorized $39,000 for a preconceptual design, and we got a great design right there. And if you want me to walk you through that, I can, if you're curious. If not, we can save it for Saturday.
Sunday.
Run it?
No, I said
Sunday?
Sunday. Sunday is the
Okay.
goal setting session.
Okay.
What's the Brickyard project?
Did you want to hear about the Brickyard?
We can go ahead
Okay,
a little bit.
real quickly?
Sure.
Okay. So this is, you might recognize part of that view. This is behind the Elks and the Exchange Building. So what problem are we solving when we look at that? You know, we have that Route 12 that dissects our main street, which is both a positive and a negative. So we have almost 8,000 cars that are running up and down Route 12, but they're not engaging with our downtown, right? Missed opportunity, what's going on? We have 4,200 residents that live within walking distance of our downtown, yet they're not engaging. So it's a little bit of that chicken and egg story. How do you get businesses to open if there's no foot traffic or customers, and how do you get customers to come if there aren't any businesses? Well, you create placemaking. It is purposeful economic design for vitality, and you can do it anywhere. You know, we start with faster, cheaper, quicker kind of concept. So simple paint and improvements or programming can reimagine a space, change the energy, and it's a public and private partnership. You'll notice the back of that Exchange Building that there's a deck right there. Are we going to pay for the deck? No, but we certainly gave them an idea. So that's where the private and public get on board with that. You'll notice the Elks. There's a fun little elk like nobody's seen before in an Elks Club. They love the design, but there's a stage in front of it, a portable stage. So this is where it's public and private. They can hold their events there, create a space, and reimagine it. So when I hear about, ooh, you're taking away parking, it's my favorite conversation. We don't have enough parking. Well, if Jen, you want to go forward, I will show you how much parking we have. You can just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, so the parking, what you see there is everything in blue. That's 191 parking spots that we own. If you keep going a little further, if you look right where you're looking, it says 600. That is directly where the Elks, the 600 with the pinpoint with the green, that is the parking lot where the Elks, the backside of Elks. If you did just a 3-minute walk in the downtown, how many parking spots do we have? We have over 600 parking spots, and that's not on-street parking. So we have an abundance of parking. We just don't have a way to engage with the parking. A lot of times people don't know where the parking is or how to engage back there. If you want to go forward, the next slide. That's just, public art, where we were kind of going through this, getting the stakeholders and different entities involved of like, who are we? What defines a vibrant downtown? And a lot of it is public art and making those investments. So this is just low-hanging fruit. This was, the Earth-inspired ones were in honor of Earth Day during the pandemic when people weren't coming out, so we wanted to encourage them to come down and walk around and engage with our downtown commerce. If you want to go again. All right, so on the photo on the left, that is your entryway to your parking lot. You would never know that there's more parking behind that. It looks like it services those buildings and those trees. I love trees, but they're not to scale for urban design. And you'll notice down a little further that some of the trees have died just because they were never meant to be in an urban setting. That little tiny building, the town owns. We talk about underutilized asset. That's an amazing asset. It's a little foundry. So you'll see that incorporated in the plan and in the phase 2. So if you want to scroll ahead. So we looked at where could we create like a parklet or a plaza. And so when you look at the behind the Elks, we had marked that off for them to have outdoor dining during COVID, and nobody missed the parking. It wasn't being utilized anyways. It was more of a pass-through. There were dumpsters in there. So we moved the dumpsters. You talk about lighter, cheaper, faster. We put it in an enclosed gate and got it away from the buildings to kind of set the tone of, you know, it's not just the backyard. This could be the front yard. And there's a little courtyard behind the 140 Main. The 140 Main developers have seen this proposal, and they're actually going to work in concert with the design concept. If you want to go again. Another view. And you'll see that brick, all the brick. We're calling it the brickyard just as a placeholder because all the buildings are made out of brick when you sit back there. And it sounds like you're going somewhere. It needs to be identifiable. You know, like, oh, we're going to that municipal parking lot for an event, a car show, or yoga. You know the parking lot. Well, which parking lot? So we had to name it something, and there's a history of a brick maker here in Killingly. So we came up with the brickyard as a placeholder. Next. And then we were talking about the mills and the textile. As this project evolved, of like, who are we as a community? We were based in manufacturing, industrial, and mills, and gears were a big part of who we are. So if you keep going. Yep, keep going. Logis was another long-term stakeholder, and you know they're known from around the world. They're here in Killingly. How could we adopt some of their colors and heritage in the community? And we're part of the last Green Valley, so we looked at options to involve that in the scheme of things. Keep going. So we talk about cheaper, lighter, faster. Proof of concept. So this past summer, with the KBA, we got a tourism marketing grant. So we did 3 food truck events just to say, if we put something back there, would people come? Well, the first one, they all ran out of food. But the other proof of concept was nobody had any place to go. They wanted to hang out, they wanted to listen to the music, but there were no tables, there was no place to sit. It's a hot parking lot. So it was kind of, you know, one of those things of, okay, what else could we do to improve the space? Now, this is just tennis court grade paint. You could throw down paint, give people things to do. You need to reimagine the space. You'll see the little pizza pie up there. We have 2 pizza restaurants, and we thought, well, how could we engage the neighborhoods? We could do a pizza trail on the sidewalks, just getting, you know, artists engaged and, you know, creating some engagement. You can go to the next slide. You know, just lighting, cheaper, lighter, faster. You'll see the floral picture. You know, you could put that on that little foundry building. Keep going. Again, that's just lighting, you know, cheaper, lighter, faster. You don't have to put permanent seating in. What could be done? Keep going. And, you know, this here, pop-up parks, we've already done it. We did it for the restaurants. If you put seating out, people will migrate to those locations. You think about grandmothers who want to take their kids downtown. They need a place to sit and play. If we have some fun paint, you know, projects for them to do, I imagine a paint by numbers by the community. We could have the artists stencil it out and just really do a lot of community engagement, get people involved in their downtown. Next. So then, you know, those big, iconic, identifiable structures, you know, of you've arrived in a place. So public art. Next. You can just keep going. That's kind of different placemaking concepts. Activities, really, you know, public, private activities. You could do, there's a gentleman who wants to do car shows back there, public art projects. Keep going. You know, the green space. So in the proposal, you'll see where there's some parking is to make that soft surfaces with seating and urban trees, so that, you know, you're being more conscious of the runoff of the rain. Keep going. Keep going. That was just kind of when we started. Okay, so now we started the gateway. You know, how do you know you have arrived? How do we engage with people to understand that there's more back there? So we started with design concepts. That's just paint. It looks like bricks. You could paint it to look like brick. Keep going. That's the art park. That's that little foundry building. That's a phase 2. So keep going. Keep going. So now we talk about facades. Once again, we are not investing in other people's buildings, but imagine recreating this space. That's the back of the 140 building, and that could be the front door as well as the back door with outdoor dining. And then you'll notice places for more public art, which is very low-hanging fruit of vibrancy. Keep going. Once again, there's a more design change. Keep going. Real immediate stuff that they could do to pretty up that facade. Keep going. There we go with some more urban garden settings. And then those buildings are so close together, you could do lighting, party lighting, you know, so it always looks like there's activity and vibrancy. Keep going. And there's the art park. So the first phase would be to activate that park, the plaza, the brickyard, closer to the buildings. The goal is for those buildings to become fluid. What's happening on the inside of the building will spill out into the outside and vice versa. So once you activate that space, we could move down a little bit more and create an art park with like sensory playscapes, that kind of thing, do programming down there. But you don't want to activate this space before you've created vibrancy. Otherwise, it just becomes blighted. You need to inhabit those spaces and have programming. And once again, it's public and private investment in the programming. Keep going. And so we kind of love the gear design. That could be colorful. It's who we are. Keep going. And there we are. That's what we ended up with. Those would be lit fixtures about 20 feet tall. Lit up all the time. They could change colors. And there's your gateway. And then you could do pylons that are smaller to scale at every entrance in the parking lot. So now you know that that's a contained space. Keep going. And then once again, it's the art park would have a different feel, but in contingent. That's just a placeholder for color and vibrancy. Keep going. And that's phase 1 and then phase 2. Keep going. And continue. So this is the right in the middle. You'll see where that gear, that epicenter is. That's your big public art sculpture, and that would be the design in my head would be that would be aluminum and wind with downward lighting and a charging station for wind charging station for cell phones, and the base would be brick. So everything's possible, right? Keep going. Keep going. Yep, so that's the space where it looks like today, and you can reimagine that space. We have put in for some grant funding for this project, and depending on how it'll be a capital stack from different places, but we had to have skin in the game, and the Economic Development Trust, you know, that $39,000 will help us leverage more grant money. And this morning when I was at the commercial realtor group, they had heard about this project, and they're finding us for grants now. They want to invest in this. So I will stop talking unless you have some questions. I do understand in this project, though, that there may be some, we talk about infrastructure, you know, the maintenance cycle, that there may be, once we start doing that and do something permanent, that there may be some water issues, runoff, some old infrastructure that needs to be corrected. The engineers didn't go under the ground, but I know that that may be an issue as we think forward and making sure that everyone is aligned with common goals.
Right, and clearly as we move forward with any capital project, we always make sure we verify or cross-reference. So as the storm drainage survey continues, and we identify if there needs to be excavation in those areas, we wouldn't necessarily move forward with a permanent installation of this project until we know that we're not excavating for stormwater the culverts underground, right? So, it's balancing, but again, like what Jill had mentioned with this was proof of concept. We're really looking at trying to do painting the pavement and stuff like that to really give space and get started to identify that as a vibrant area before we start just going and installing significant permanent infrastructure, because we may start with one painted design and we may, as we define ourselves, morph and modify that a little bit before we come into a more permanent structure, right? So we really were talking about when it comes to paint on the pavement, that's not a heavy lift, right? So you can really, it's okay if we want to start it that way as we continue to navigate the stormwater drainage system, come to our final conclusions around that before we're making that permanent infrastructure investment. So that's always something we coordinate throughout the departments and in our capital planning.
Thank you. Commissioner Grandelsky.
Well, with the box culvert study that we were doing, it's identified, it goes to a portion of the park, but there are still some more unknowns, and that's why I contacted her, and there's some unknowns, so if we fund additional study to know where the rest of the box culvert goes, or some of the fingers,
Right.
and of course, this thing is 150 years old.
Or more.
So they keep assuring we can do some painting things, so that's on board right now. We'll do the painting. I mean, hopefully this year's budget we can put some more money in to, fund more study of that box covered structure. So then, I like this. Then they can proceed with this and a nice improvement.
I agree. I mean, seeing this presentation, that would be a phenomenal upgrade for what we have in downtown, and I believe it would really help draw more people in, get more of the traffic that's just going through town to actually stop and engage with local businesses, and bring more local businesses into town. I will open up any.
I'm just blown away. I think it's fantastic. And like the work you put in and the vision, I just think it's beautiful. Great job.
It was right under everyone's noses. I just have to reimagine the space.
How far along is the 140 Main Street?
It is, they've submitted building plans. There is plans for a destination restaurant. So they're redoing a few things for fire code issues. It's my understanding that the whole second floor, they have office investor going in there. So it's really now their timeline, May and June. They're going to go all in.
Because that's the issue with that building being vacant for so long. It's just, that's all we heard for years and years and years. So I just want to emphasize now that something's happening there, and with this presentation, that just works well.
And I will say that's been one of the keys, and that was one of the reasons for trying to kick this concept, this evaluation done now, because when you have an active developer that is really looking at redeveloping such a large piece of real estate within that space, to have them on board during their development phase, because they could potentially incorporate some of these features in their own development. That's where that public-private partnership comes in place. And to have that stakeholder willing to, engage in this process and engage in this concept and this design is really an important thing. And, we haven't just, just looked at 140 Main. Clearly we've had conversations with Elks and with the other business owners as well, the other property owners, to engage them as well. But it dovetails nicely when you have such a large redevelopment that's happening right there. Now's the best time for that to engage at this point in time. So I think timing-wise, it was so critical to have this evaluation done and this study done. So I applaud the Economic Development Commission for really endorsing and working through, because I know that from the community's perspective, and, even, I think even on the commission, there's always some hesitancy because we've all looked at downtown for so long. Haven't we done this study before, right? And in some respects we may have, but I think this was a really great opportunity to reimagine, to really think outside that box and reimagine. So I applaud the Economic Development Commission for taking that step.
The other, excuse me, the other good thing about this whole presentation, my first EDC liaison meeting, they had a lady from the state that's the state has created cultural districts, and there's certain requirements, and part of it is kind of having a plan. And the lady from the state did her presentation, and then the other gentleman did that presentation, and she stayed on because she was Zooming, and she was like, "This is exactly what you need to be doing." So she was like super excited that we were that far into being ready to set up a cultural district.
And we talked about the cultural district, and it's something that the town council will have to approve, and there's many ways you can structure it. It can be a subcommission of economic development, and that's the way the state has it. Their arts and culture is under economic development, as is tourism, because it's a huge economic driver. It's a $1.3 billion economic driver for the state. It's not an enforcement tool for having a district. It's just saying we value our historical assets, and this is what we've designated. But once you get that designation, it lays the framework and sets the table for additional funding for grant opportunities. And so that's why I thought those were lengthy presentations. I thought the two should be kind of parallel in the presentation package.
Well, a lot of things help too, because we have economic development funds or whatever that is.
The trust.
Okay, so we have that, so we can partner that with other monies. If we didn't have anything to start with, that would be another problem. So we have these trusts, they're all over the place, but I think this really came in handy at this point in time, because other entities are looking at, okay, we can match funding at certain points in time, then we can go after the bigger fish, but we couldn't start without any of that. So I think we've done a good job. Now we're growing, taking advantage of that.
Thank you. And in economic development, I always, I care about the whole community, but you have to start somewhere. And it's, price per acre and return on investment is your core, is your downtown and your industrial park. And that acts as a feeder for the rest of the community and feeds those programs, that community center, the road maintenance, that kind of thing, by growing the grand list. So it's not, I'm very concerned about all our businesses, but that's why there's an emphasis on the downtown. You are defined by your downtown, and it's the story, the automobile and what it did to town centers and downtown. It's a story in every community. It's what do you do with those dynamics, and so starting with, reimagining spaces. And when I'm done there, I want to jump across the street, but we'll wait a couple of years on that one.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just have a question. I remember, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I had read something about, with the ARPA funding, you could use some of that money for arts and culture in your communities too as well, correct?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Currently, right now, the town has applications that far exceed our ARP our ARP allotment. So the fiscal subcommittee will be further evaluating them. They were presented to the fiscal subcommittee last month. I had hoped to get a fiscal subcommittee meeting pulled together in the last 2 weeks, and unfortunately for family reasons, I haven't been able to do that. So the fiscal subcommittee will be evaluating the proposal. So the primary the application from economic development that's in the ARP proposal is with regards to brownfields remediation at our remaining parcel in the industrial park. So that is, and we I think that the applications that we've received and that are being presented, both from town capital project perspective as well as community-based organizations, I think it's a pretty good diversity of requests across the, really across the needs of the community. So, but right now we have about $1 million more in requests than we have funding. So while we could do another application for arts, it's, again, a significant balance. And I think that there is enough other funding opportunities for arts right now, especially within federal and state grants and in private foundation. Arts is one of those that typically it's more readily available to find grant opportunity for. So, and one of the positions that I'm looking to be posting here shortly will be for specifically someone that has grant writing capabilities. So I'm looking to try and bring that position on board, which will assist because while, Jill is fantastic at writing grants and assisting at writing grants, she's also our economic development director. She's not specifically tied to grant. And it's very, right now there's so much opportunity for grants. There's just not enough time to flush through them all and find ones that don't have hidden strings and ties that you don't want to be tied to. So I think it's critical right now for the town to invest in that position to be able to have. So we'll be hitting the streets hopefully shortly for that position that will assist in, economic development, getting that type of grant opportunity, as well as a number of our other, departments, like our law enforcement division, our conservation areas. There's a lot of grant opportunities out there that we just, staff-wise, we just don't have enough time to get through and search out all of those grant opportunities. So that's another avenue. But arts, there is an abundance of grant opportunities there that I think we can probably seek for.
And a few people have seen this presentation, and they've come to us. I know the Last Green Valley has art funding, not a lot. The commercial real estate group, they have placemaking. So we've hit all of those check marks. So this is the gift that will keep on giving, this investment in a plan. So now I can leverage that plan for those opportunities. So I didn't put intentionally, I didn't put an ARPA grant in for that. I thought the other opportunity was for Brownfield was I had exhausted all other options, OPM, other people's money. I had already exhausted that. So that was, when we look at that, I mean, I could have spent the whole thing for you, but I shared the application process. Mary knows it's a secret talent. I can smell it.
Well, we're also looking at the Blueville Mill for redeveloping that for residential use. That's sort of in the ground floor stages, or wherever that might be at this point. I don't know.
Yes. So you talk about the Economic Development Trust Fund and how valuable it is. It's a tool in the tool chest. So in that particular application, it was a hard money lender who inherited the property. So they also inherited the brownfield issues. The Economic Development Trust funded $5,000 for me to hire a technical writer to help me fill out the EPA grant, because they have to be worded in such a way that you want to get what you need and not so much of the oversight that you don't. So it's a technical skill. And so we did apply for the EPA targeted assessment grant, and early indication is that that may be on for April of 2022. And once again, that'll be a shared lift. That's the town's investment in understanding what's there to attract a developer. Mary and I have a presentation with the Economic Development Commissioner about, the cost headwinds of doing mill projects. They're prohibitively expensive, and now with the rising cost of labor and material, they're about $400 a square foot. So you can imagine the capital stack. They're not bankable projects, so you have to get really creative with your funding. So I think we have a good plan. We're going to see if we can get some state help, and we'll get back to you, see how that works out for us.
Before I forgot, so getting old, so I really want to say say something in front of everybody. Town council, say our town manager always attend our so commercial realtor meeting in town of Killiney. So really well represent our town of Killiney. So I really to invite everybody to come to the grand opening. Show up beside Kevin. Patty, Tammy, so I feel that say new business and need some support from the town, so yeah, thank you,
Thank you. Any more comments, questions? You have anything else? Okay. Thank you very much for coming tonight, and thank you for the presentation. I really hope we can go forward with this because that project looks phenomenal.
Pretty exciting.
Yes, it is. Moving on in the agenda is 7, executive session, and we have nothing. Next item is 8. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion has been made by Mr. Wood, seconded by Mr. Grandelski. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? This meeting is adjourned.